welcome back to One-on-One with Mr. U. Of course, I'm your host, Mr. U. Before we get into our guest information for today, if this is your first time watching and listening to our show, upper right-hand corner of the screen, the QR code. Grab that with your phone, and you get all the episodes from previous one-on-one interviews with outstanding guests like the one we have in studio today. My guest is a communications instructor, post-secondary education educator, retired Marine Logistics Specialist. The man does a whole bunch of things. I call him a Renaissance man. He does that many things. And I believe you're going to share one or two things that he's doing now that you guys might not have known about or heard about from him yet. So let's get into that. Professor Steve Maynor Jr. in the house. What's up, Stu? Good to have you in the house, man.
What's up, bro? Thank you for having me, man.
Oh, man, the pleasure's mine, man. Good to have you in here, man. For those folks that are eagle-eyed, they already know that we do some work together outside of this show. And I'm pretty excited about that, but we can get into it if it calls for it. But let's go ahead and kind of jump into some details, man. I'd love to hear some of your background, man, where you're from, man, and kind of tell me how you got from there to here, man.
Okay. All right. Well, real quick, man. Thank you, brothers, for having me.
My pleasure.
I just appreciate the opportunity for us to be in conversation with each other. With that being said, I'm from a small town in the South, Folkston, Georgia, my hometown. Okay. Love my folks down there. It's about, for proximity, for the folks that never heard of Folkston, Georgia, it's in the bottom right-hand corner of the state, about 35 miles north of Jacksonville, Florida. So the bottom of the bottom, down in the mud, down in the swamp. That's where I'm from, my brother. I grew up there, joined the Marine Corps, 17 years old, stayed in the Marine Corps for almost 24 years, did a lot of interesting things. My primary job was a data administration specialist. I worked in Marine Aviation, where we tracked aircraft parts, pilots, flight hours, all the maintenance on the aircraft. So it made me into a very detail-oriented type thinker. That was my primary job. And then over the years, I spent several years as a drill instructor there on Parris Island, South Carolina.
Oh, boy.
I was
on my shoulder there,
I was the assistant Marine officer instructor working in the ROTC unit at the University of South Florida. So shout out to my Bulls down in Tampa. I was an officer candidate school instructor. Been there, did that. Ultimately,
we down there for a little while. We know about Tampa. We lived there for about 4 years, man. So I know about them Bulls. All right.
That's right. That's right. Proud USF alum as well. So, long story short, I get promoted to E9, highest enlisted rank on the enlisted side. I had planned to do 30 years in the Marine Corps, and my health started to fail me in the form of multiple knee injuries. I experienced my first knee injury as a drill instructor. So here's how, the setback and the setup comes into play.
Yeah.
So I graduate drill instructor school. I'm a distinguished graduate. The Friday before I'm due to check into my unit, I have an accident in training where a Marine falls into my legs. I tear my ACL and meniscus. So here I am, a brand new drill instructor, never worked a platoon, and I'm already broke. And if you know anything about the culture in that kind of environment, bro, it's rabid. It's dog eat dog. It's brutal. Yeah. I just happened to take that injury and use that as a time to sit back, learn, and observe some of the mistakes I saw new drill instructors make. And I made the best of that time while I was injured. So I recovered from that injury in about 8-9 months. I was back on full duty running, and I was ready to get into the fight. So when I got in, I wasn't behind because I got a chance to sit the bench. It was almost like a red shirt if you think about it in sports terms. I sat the bench. I worked the office jobs. Absolutely. Right. I did the rehab. And then when I came in the game, I was a rookie, but I wasn't a rookie. And it just took off from there. So fast forward some years, bro, my cartilage in both of my knees just starts deteriorating due to the amount of running that I've done. I used to run, I think my wife tells a story. She used to see me running around the flight line on Kadena Air Base when we first met back in the 1990s. And she'll see me running. It's like, who runs the flight line on this base? And it was me. I just enjoyed running. And, you know, all of that wear and tear eventually led to a cartilage deterioration. And I had started having a series of knee surgeries, 6 total. And what those surgeries did was it altered the plans that I had for my life. Because, you know, bro, when you say I have this plan and God said he has this plan, you know who's going to win, right?
You know who's going to win every time.
Every time. So my dreams were kind of crushed. I made it to the top of the top. And now here I am going through these knee injuries and I'm having these multiple surgeries. My father passes away during this time. So I'm dealing with a lot, mental health wise, stress wise, and, you know, recovery physically. And I got to figure out, man, what am I going to do? And I'm forgetting that I already do this. I already teach, right? Because I was already teaching. I had a backup plan. And as planned as I was to make transition out of the Marine Corps, I wasn't ready.
I want to come back to that backup plan. I want to stay on the Marine for a second, because every time somebody talks about their service and military service and time, they talk about what they did there and what they learned from it. I want to ask you a different question that's maybe perhaps unique to you.
Okay.
What did you escape from by going into the Marines? A lot of times people are trying to leave something behind, or they're trying to prove something to somebody, including themselves, or maybe just somebody in their family. What did you escape from? What did you avoid, you think, by going into the Marine? Why was that a move that you felt like you had to make?
Wow. That's a great question. I was able to escape extreme poverty. Extreme poverty, the lack of opportunities, because the small place that I grew up in is very rural. The largest employer is at the time was a prison that's now one of the largest ICE facilities in the country. Logging, cutting down trees, taking them to the paper mills in the region. That was the largest industry. And I knew life had to have more to offer than that. So I wasn't necessarily running from that, but I was running to the Marine Corps. And that seed, bro, got planted, believe it or not, when I was a youngster. My cousin married a Marine who happened to be stationed at Kings Bay Naval Submarine Base. I was in their wedding and I saw this dude in his uniform and I said, man, there's something about this dude. I like the way he treated me, how sharp he looked in the uniform. And in my mind, I said, man, I'm going to be just like that dude one day. Little did I know that seed blossomed into, as soon as I got of age to sign the paperwork and show interest, I knew the Marine Corps was for me. I knew it. My parents were, they were on the fence. They were hesitant because the Marine Corps was the last of the big 4 branches of service that allowed Black people to join. They were the last ones resisting integration, right? And then when we did integrate, we didn't start out training in the same location. They sent Black Marines to Mumford Point, North Carolina. They couldn't train at Parris Island. So I saw that as an opportunity. I didn't want to go to status quo. If they said there was a challenge and it was hard, I was attracted to that. And it just lined up perfectly. So maybe to answer the question, was I running from something? I would, maybe you could say, yeah, I was running from the lack of opportunity.
Oh yeah.
But I was running to what I knew was in my heart to be when I was a young kid. And it just manifested into a 23-year, 9-month career in the Marine Corps.
Congratulations, Stu, man. That's so awesome, brother. I want to ask you something about the end of your career, because every time I talk to somebody that was in service, it seems to have the same challenge. Now, who am I without the uniform? Who am I without the title? Who am I without the stripes?
Yeah.
What was the answer to that question for you, and how hard was the adjustment into, I guess, civilian lifestyle?
Yeah, going back to me talking about the multiple knee surgeries that, I started having those last few years, I was already an adjunct instructor. I was teaching classes at night. I work all day, change over, and I'll go to the base education center and I'm teaching, right? So I had a plan. I was already teaching. But right before one of the last surgeries, the orthopedic doctor told me, hey man, you need to stop running, because if you continue to try to get healthy and go back on active duty, you're running the potential of crippling yourself for the rest of your life. Like you're retirement eligible. You already are teaching. You need to go ahead and retire. I know you wanted to do 30 years, but I don't think it's worth it. So, this guy tells me this, and I go sit in my truck, bro, and I just started crying uncontrollably. I didn't know how to accept the fact that my career goals were being interrupted by these injuries. I couldn't control it. And I went back in the clinic and I said, man, I need to talk to somebody, because I don't know what to do. My emotions, I was overcome with emotions. And that, bro, it opened up the door to therapy. Okay. Me taking down the barrier that I put in front of myself, and I started getting some help. Because on the outside, everything looked like it was under control, but inside, I didn't know what to do. And it was difficult. And thankfully, I had good people who worked with me, and to include my wife, who helped me through expressing openly how I was feeling and what I was going through. And ironically enough, bro, it took my wife to say, I know you're disappointed that you're not going to be able to stay into 30 years, but you're already good at what you do. So you just take that energy from the Marine Corps into teaching. And I was like, wow, you're right.
Sounds profound, man. Sounds profound.
It sounds profound. And what I try to do in sharing that story is help other vets who are making the transition understand the importance of having a plan. I can't imagine how I could have spiraled out of control if I didn't have a plan, if I didn't have something to fall back on, if I didn't know what I was going to transition into in regards to earning enough money to support my family. That was hard. That was hard, bro.
No, I can only imagine. I want to talk a little bit about now you mentioned some things in regards to network and transparency and just the emotions that you were feeling. I want to come back to that, because that's a big part of something that you and I do together. And I want to kind of introduce that to those that may not be aware of that. But I want to talk, I want to ask you a question really quickly about the educational part. Okay. Because it has, I guess, education in today's world in 2026 has a bit of a stigma attached to it. There's some things that are not looking good for people who are in the educational system, not just the teachers, but also the students. Take us behind the curtain a little bit. Tell us one misconception about the education system in 2026, and one thing that you are maybe perhaps not super encouraged about, something that you see that you don't really like that's going on. Kind of a two-part answer I need from you on that one. What's a misconception that people don't know about that you're excited about, or that you think is great, and something that maybe is perhaps not so great about the education system in 2026? Go ahead, Stu.
Okay, so a misconception is that when people hear that I'm an education advocate, they think the pathway to education is one route,
Ah, okay.
degree, right?
Yeah.
Because some students are like, I'm tired of school. College is a hoax. They're taking our money and they're brainwashing the minds of young people and making them into radicals and communists and like, okay, so. Take a pause, deep breath, right? There are multiple pathways. There are certificate programs. There are skills programs where students take a class for a certain amount of hours to be certified in plumbing, welding, HVAC. That is education because you can't do those professions without a license. The more traditional route is, going from high school, maybe a stop through a community or junior college, then on to a 4-year school, and then, on to a career. That's probably one of the biggest misconceptions is that the path to your destiny has to go one way, and that's not true. What I do and try to encourage folks to think about is, what are you going to do work-wise, career-wise, and how are you going to get there? You got to be trained somehow. You got to go through some type of schooling to learn how to do that thing, because neither you or I want to bring a contractor or a skilled tradesman into our house to do work and they're not qualified or licensed, right?
No doubt. No doubt.
You don't want to see a nurse who don't have a license or a doctor who don't have a license. So the pathways is probably the biggest misconception, that you got to do it this way. I happen to be a biased advocate of the community college system because the community college system in North Carolina is, I think, hands down one of the best in the country. I think the balance between the community college as a bridge between high school and 4-year college allows students to figure out what it is that they want to do. Most community colleges are way cheaper tuition-wise per semester, per class than a 4-year institution is. And it allowed the students to get introduced to a lot of different things if they aren't sure which direction they want to go, or if they even should go on to a 4-year institution. So that would be the first part of the answer. What was the second part?
Well, okay, I come back to that. That's going to be, something you're seeing that you're not encouraged about. So when you see an opportunity, perhaps for some change there. And on the community colleges topic, my mom has so many degrees. I forgot how many degrees she has. I lost her. I know double-digit degrees, and she spent a lot of her years in community college. So I've seen the result of that. So I believe, I know New York City is a little bit different.
Yeah,
but I'm pretty sure that there's a lot of good things to be said about community college. I never heard a bad thing about it, to be honest with you. So that's pretty awesome. But my second part of my question was, what are you seeing in the educational process that you're not encouraged about, you're not enthusiastic about? Maybe something you see that you think is an opportunity for some change, some real change, something that perhaps we don't know about from the outside looking in.
I would say one of the biggest challenges is attacks on academic freedom.
Attacks on academic freedom.
Attacks on academic freedom, meaning people don't like the style of teaching or the material that's included in your course, right? So there's a wing of people in the world who say, I don't want my kids learning that. That's DEI. It is teaching them socialism, communism, and you're like, what are you talking about? What we're really teaching students to do is be critical thinkers, and we're forcing them to think in a way that's outside of what they've only been taught things they've been taught their whole life. So, do you really want a audience of people who grow up, only being exposed to a certain way of thinking, and now you turn those people into bobbleheads, and that's how people slip into cults, because to challenge what's being taught is not allowed. In the colleges, we welcome dissent, we welcome conflict in regards to having difficult conversations, because we want to let people know Your way ain't the way. There are people who think, believe, and act differently than you, and it's okay. And you need to know that these people exist in the world who don't think, look, or believe the way you do. And you know what? They're still good people.
This is my next question for you, Stu. What you just said right there, because you mentioned earlier about the people who, perhaps students of yours, perhaps that felt like the quote unquote traditional path was a hoax. It ain't the right route. My mom was a firm believer in that path. Yeah. I differed a little bit from that, and even going into it now with the degrees and the debt that I have now, it makes me say, you know what? Perhaps this was exactly what I thought it was. But how would you speak to somebody as unbiased as you can? You're educated, so you're already kind of in it. But how would you speak to somebody who's watching or listening to this broadcast today who may say, you know what? The traditional path is too big of a challenge for me. It is a hoax. I don't want to be indoctrinated. How would you speak to them? And you probably already had a conversation multiple times already with your students, but how would you speak to somebody who's watching, listening right now that has that same kind of feeling? Go ahead, Stu.
Okay. I don't answer the question. I ask a question. Okay. If what you're saying is true, how are you going to make your money? with no degree, no license, and no direction. Is it possible to take the unbeaten path of, bucking the system and figuring it out on your own? Are there people out there who are able to successfully navigate life like that? And it's those rare examples of the Steve Jobs or the folks who went to school a year, dropped out, and then they all of a sudden found the path to, being a multimillionaire. I mean, you have a better chance of being struck by lightning than you do of that happening for you, right? So I flip it back on them, bro. And I don't try to argue with them or talk them down or berate them. I just try to ask them practical questions. What industry or profession can you enter into without going through a learning process? Whether that learning process is getting a 2-year, 4-year master's degree or going through a 12-week training course that's going to give you a license to do a thing.
Absolutely.
And I'll sit with them, and I'll help them see how much money can be made in the thing that they think they can do without a degree or certification or a license.
That'd be helpful.
Right.
I'm pretty sure that was a deal breaker for them, probably. Now you see something tangibly in front of you.
That's right.
So there's something I want to get into before our show closes out on us. So first thing is, you and I have a very unique connection. Most of my guests can't say that when they come on here. Yeah. But you and I have been connected through a mutual friend that I love dearly, and I know you do as well. He's a former Marine as well, and he was also an invitee to a work that I've been building called the Men's Roundtable Series podcast. Yeah. It's a monthly broadcast, or at least it was a monthly broadcast, where we have men that from all around the world come into that safe space of that show and talk about issues that are germane to men. We starting in March, in case you guys didn't see the announcements on social. Starting in March, we're going to a weekly broadcast Thursday nights, probably around 7 o'clock. We're going to be doing it every week to provide more content, more of the things that you guys have been asking for from us. We'll have more of that out there, but you've been a big part of that. Tell me why, in your opinion, you can go as deep as you want to get with this. Why did you feel like, you know what, I need to be a part of this? Why did you decide to be a part of the Men's Roundtable Series podcast?
Yeah, man. I appreciate the invitation to be a part of a panel of diverse people who bring different skill sets to the table, different opinions, different life experiences. And of course, T.O. was the bridge in, helping me come into this space. T.O. and I have been great friends for 25 years. Our relationship runs way back. So I trust that T.O. is going to put me in a company of people who I need to be in the company with. So shout out to T.O. Clay. I saw your heart, right? And I'm not just saying this to you because we're in this one-on-one podcast together. I saw the heart in what you were trying to do and bring topics and conversations where a young fella who may not know where they want to go in life, they're going through some struggles or some adversities, and they need to hear it from more seasoned men who are still trying to figure out life's journeys, and let them know, if I can share anything with them that has created a bump in the road, or sometimes digging myself a massive ditch that I had to figure out how to get out of, and letting them know, hey, bro, it's okay if you mess up and you dig that ditch for yourself. Is what's more important is how you respond. And did you learn anything from it? And are you going to be willing to teach the next young brother not to go through the same thing? Yeah. Right? You don't need to get burned if I got burnt. If you know how I got burnt, then go around. Right? So that's why I felt compelled to start, accepting those invitations. And I appreciate diverse opinions that come about on that panel, because I think disagreeing is not a bad thing. Sometimes when we think of conflict is always, it could be viewed from a negative perspective. I can respectfully disagree with you and tell you why I disagree with your approach or your way of thinking. And I think it's healthy to have a diverse set of opinions on a panel that addresses issues that are relevant to men.
Oh yeah, they're diverse, and we definitely have those situations. Thinking about boy Clay, maybe you can convince him to finally accept my invite to come on this show, because it's been over a year. I ain't get him on here yet, so maybe perhaps you can help him be a little less busy to come on the show with his boy. Also for me, I want to be a slam dunk, but for some reason he ain't been here yet. I don't know what's going on with that.
Maybe this will be the spark.
Yeah.
That gets him to come on and share his incredible story. Because
all means, please be the spark. That'd be great, man. Because he's faithful to the roundtable. He'll come on this show. And I don't know if I understand what that's about.
Well, I will tell you, bro. For your audience members who aren't familiar with who Coach T.O. Clay is, when you hear about this dude and when he does come on to the one-on-one, he's gonna blow you away. He is. He is a special individual, I will say that. And I've known him for 25 years, and every time I listen to him or every time I talk to him, I learn something.
Yeah. And he's always on our roundtable. So if you ever watch any of our shows, you can jump on our YouTube channel and check it out. He's always there. I don't think he's missed but maybe one roundtable. So he's been pretty constant. So you can definitely get the insights from him there. Yeah. You talked a lot about transparency and just things that you learn as a man. Tell me what you, and this is my last related question regarding the roundtable. What do you want to see in yourself change from this kind of experience, from this kind of exposure? Not because of the roundtable only, but just because of being in these circles with these men, these safe spaces where coaching and counseling and mentorship play a part, and we all feed from that. We all grow from that. What do you want to see change about you specifically from this kind of encounter, if you will, if that makes sense?
Yeah, allowing myself to be vulnerable and share some things and some mistakes that I've made. I don't want to be too guarded, and I don't want to be too transparent at the same time. So it's helping me be in company with other men who have gone through trauma, who have gone through dramatic things. And it's helped me realize I'm in the space with other brothers who have been through something, that it's okay for me to share some of my trials and tribulations as well, particularly if it's going to help somebody. And that's where my heart is, in service and helping. If I know something and I could do something to help somebody, I will. And if that takes me taking off my armor and crying, telling a story, that just happened Sunday night, believe it or not. First time in a while, I found myself getting overwhelmed with emotions, talking to a group of brothers that have never seen me cry. And I think participating in the men's roundtable has helped me gain a level of comfort and show emotion, because I was comfortable around a group of guys that I know love me and care about me. And in return, I love them and care about them. And they have a shoulder to cry on if they need one.
And that's what we've been trying to build, man. And you are a major part of that, man. I'm so appreciative of your yes for this, because your level of character and the man that you are, publicly and privately, that shows up, man, on that show, man. And I always hear great things from people who are watching, listen, who even are non-men, who are not men. Okay. Their wives and sisters and daughters, and they they are appreciative of what you bring to the table specifically too. So thank you for doing that. I want to end the show with a little bit about your podcast work, man, because you have joined the fold, man. Me and T.O., we've been in it for a little bit now. I forgot how long T.O.'s been podcasting. It's been, for me, it's been 6 years now. But you're in here, man. You're doing this now. So what's going on with your new show, man, your new project? Talk to us about it.
I'm not quite ready to get where y'all are. I'll make it more. So check it out, right? I'm making cameo appearances on various podcasts. People who I'm in line with. It's kind of like, you know, a rapper have a feature, come on and kill it. I don't have my own album yet. But when I come on your album, I'm gonna see it fire.
I saw something about a new show. I thought I saw something. I don't know what I saw. I saw something on social.
Maybe you're speaking it into existence.
I thought it was a new project. Ain't no problem, man, because if you ever decide, you know what, I'm gonna take that launch and stick my toe into that water. Guess many guys around here that love you, man, and can help walk you through the first part of the process, man. But if you want to, you know, be a perennial guest and whatnot on shows, by all means, man. There's no shame in that game, man.
Yeah, so I do, man, I know you're being facetious, but I do have some things going on professionally in the speaking realm. I do have a website where people can go and listen to a lot of the projects that I'm involved in speaking, writing. I'm a co-author in a veterans book that's coming out soon. I've been working on my own book that will be coming out at some point as well. So I'm getting those things together and just trying to let the world know that I have a voice, I have an opinion that is valuable, because my focus is the relationship between communication and leadership. No matter what industry or career field you're in, if you know how to be an effective communicator, that's going to equal you potentially being a better leader. And that's the work that I do. I advocate for critical thinking is a big part of what I do and what I teach, which is why some of the questions you asked in regards to the education space, that takes me into getting people out of their comfort zone, forcing you to sit back and don't just respond off of emotions to things that we see going on in society. Critically think about what you're seeing, process that thing before you let it come out of your mouth, because once it comes out of your mouth, you lose control of the narrative. Whether you try to take it back or you try to delete it, you've lost control of it. But if we can have enough discipline and be emotionally intelligent enough to think before we post, add a video, reel, or whatever, because it seems to be a trend where people just want to get a reel out there to get clicks and likes. But if it ain't for, your purpose is not where it's supposed to be, then people are looking for confirmation or affirmation, looking for likes and clicks and shares.
Yeah.
What are you sharing? What type of thought did you put into saying what you said before you hit that button? And that's what I try to challenge people to do. And it's not just young people, it's old people too.
Oh, I know it's not. Older folks as well, they're honest about it.
That's right. And if I care about somebody and I see them doing something and they're headed in a potentially dangerous direction, I'll reach out and say, hey, bro, I love you enough to challenge you about what you just did or said. Why are you doing that? What are you trying to do? What type of conversation are you trying to invoke by posting or saying something that could be potentially harmful to your way of life, your employment. I had to reach out. I reached out to a brother who said something. He's still on active duty. And I called him and I said, I want you to read what you just wrote out loud to me. And then I want you to think. And sure enough, bro, he read the post and he was like, as he was reading, I could see that hamster on the wheel going off. And he was like, oh, yeah, you know what? Dang, boss. Yeah, I probably shouldn't have did it. Right. Not ridiculing you, but what I want you to do is delete the post. And before you post anything else that's running around in your head, think about it before you say it. Because that could be weaponized and used against you, right? Don't dig yourself an unnecessary ditch because you and your feelings, you feel like you need to get it out. Silence, my brother.
Social media in a nutshell.
Bro, silence is one of the most powerful communication tools we have in our toolbox. And people don't use it enough. The power of silence. Because what silence does for you is allow you to process whatever you're intaking. Process, think about, organize before you spit it out, right? Because the last step in the communication process is responding. And that's what most people are doing. They are going from hearing that thing to spitting out something out of their mouth or clicking something on their keyboard. It skips this whole thing right here, bro. It go in the ear and straight out the mouth.
60, man. Going from 0 to 60 in 2 seconds.
Yeah.
Oh, that's good stuff, man. You are a blessing, man. You're a blessing to the roundtable. You're a blessing to this show. You're a blessing to me personally, man. I appreciate you being here, man. I'm excited about hearing more about what you're doing. Once we get on air, I want to grab some links if you have any of those, so I can put them in the show notes so people can find the work that you're doing. My final question for you today, we're going to close the show out with this one.
Okay.
So answer this as best you can and as quickly as you can. What's the one thing you want people to know about you before this interview is over? What's one thing you want people to know about you before the interview is over? They already know you're educated, know about your background. What's something that's not on the paper that you want them to know about you?
I care about people.
Man, dig deeper than that. Let's go. Come on. Dig deeper than that. You already know you care.
Meaning
you wouldn't stay in education if you didn't care. You'd be gone by now.
No, I care about serving and being a blessing to other people. I don't get off on trying to take advantage of anyone. I get off on the success that other people around me are having. If somebody around me is winning, man, I feel like I'm winning. If you have success and I had anything to contribute to that, I don't need a pat on the back. I've been blessed so much in my life by God with so many different opportunities. I don't need to be in the spotlight. I don't need to be at the center of attention. I'm more interested in the work, in service. You know,
I want to end this show. That was going to be the end, but now because you said something, I need to add that really hits. I had a conversation with an incredible young lady who I'm going to be interviewing really soon. I think as soon as late next month. But one thing you said was the thing I want people to hear who watch and listen to this show or catch the replay later on. I want them to hear something you just got finished saying. You talk about how you don't really look for the spotlight. If someone else wins, you're winning. And you already know, and I shared it many times on the roundtable, I'm from the Zig Ziglar school of life, if you will. If you help enough folks get what they want in life, God will help you get what you want in life. And I really believe that. I live like that. A lot of folks think there's a motive to it, some kind of strings. That's skepticism. It's not true. I don't have any. You know, and what you do, and this is something I applaud you for. Everybody doesn't do this, and I'm not pointing fingers at them. I'm just pointing a finger on you and giving you your flowers today. Even when you're not a panelist on a round table, even when you can't be there that month, you're still promoting the show. You're still adding captions and sharing it in your sphere of influence. That's something that's understated, man. Because it's like if you don't get anything out of it, people won't do anything. When you do something and there's no value in that for you, you're not on the show that you're sharing a lot of the times. You're not on the panel of the episode that you're sharing with people, but you share because you recognize that the mission that we have for this is bigger than the individual person. That's and right. I don't know if it's because you was in the military or if it's just the way you grew up, but so many guys in our round table family, they just get that, man. The mission is bigger than us. We see 3 to 5 men and we pass by every day, and we don't know if they're heading to the bridge or the pill bottle. We don't know where they're going.
That's right.
We got a responsibility and an obligation, really, as fellow humans, to grab that man and say, "Hey, you doing good?" Because hearing that one voice might be the last excuse they have to not get on that bridge and say, "You know what? Nobody listening to me." So what we're doing is a whole lot bigger than that. I'm get my soapbox down, my bad. But what you do is something that's very, very rare. I applaud you for it, man. I love you for it, and I thank you for it, man.
I appreciate that. It's a combination of my upbringing and my parents being a preacher's kid. I was raised right, and the Marine Corps just solidified the need for team players, teamwork. Can you be a good follower before you're given the opportunity to lead? I want to be a good teammate. I don't need to always be in charge, and it don't always need to be my thing to celebrate. If I could celebrate others' success and happiness, I believe it marries into the concept of seed time and harvest. I'm planting seeds of positivity and putting good energy in the atmosphere on your behalf because I believe in the process of planting that seed, watering it, and waiting for the universe to come back around, and somebody else will do the same for me and my success.
Well, I go out of my way to make sure I do that. If I see something that you got going on, I'm pushing and I'm promoting it because I believe in you, brother. I'm grateful for you. Thanks for being a part of the show, man. Definitely appreciate that.
Thank you. Appreciate you for having me.
Right there, y'all. Renaissance man. I already told you. You already heard Professor Steve Maynor Jr. right here in the building with us, man. But thank you so much, man, for doing this, and for you guys watching and listening for the first time. Upper right-hand corner of your screen, the QR code. You can grab that. You can hear so many awesome stories like this one, so many awesome interviews and testimonials from a lot of folks who deal with what you deal with it from different parts of the world, different parts of the country. And so this is all universally on the same page, man. So I'm grateful for this show, grateful for the platform, man. And thanks again for being here and being a part of this, man.
Thank you for having me, Mr. U. I appreciate you.
Pleasure. Wherever you are and however you listen to One-on-One with Mr. U, thanks again for making us part of your week. We're out of here. Have a good one.